Greetings, sir, and fellow friends. Today, me, Maverick, and Muhammad Kabil and Dwayne Elmer will present a topic about distortion in welding and how to minimize distortion. Okay, what is distortion? Distortion is a result from the expansion and contraction of the weld metal and adjacent base metal during the heating and cooling cycle of the welding process. Doing all welding on one side of a part will cause much more distortion than if the welds are alternate from one side to the others. During this heating and cooling cycle, many factors affect shrinkage of the metal and the lead of distortion, such as physical and mechanical properties that change the heat is applied. So from the figure 3 we can see the types of distortion. Okay, how to minimize? How to minimize ni tempat aku. Oh. So I will continue with how to minimize distortions. First of all, do not over weld. This might the more metal placed in a joint, the greater the shrinkage forces. Correctly sizing a weld for the requirements of the joint not only minimize distortion, but also save weld metal and time. The amount of weld metal in a fillet weld can be minimized by the use of a flat or slightly convex bit, and in a butt joint by proper edge preparation and fit up. The excess weld metal in a highly convex bed does not increase the allowable strength in codework, but it does increase shrinkage forces. And the second one is backstep welding technique. Backstep welding technique involves generally welding left to right while depositing each bit segment right to left. As each bit segment is placed, the heat edges expand, temporarily separating the plates. However, as the heat moves out, expansion along the edge brings the plate back together. Successive bits cause the plates to expand less and throughout the process because of the restraint that the prior welds cause. This technique minimizes distortion as the welding process goes on.
Alright, the other ways to minimize the distortion is using a water-cooled jig technique. Using a water-cooled jig is an effective tool in minimizing distortion in sheet metal welding. The tool carries heat away from the weld components and circulates water to the tubes during welding. And clamps are also used in this process to minimize the distortion. So here are the example of water-cooled jigs. Here we got a clamps, and this is the joint that will be welded and the copper water tubes. And the number 4 is use intermittent welding. Intermittent welding rather than continuous welds will minimize the amount of weld metal used. This will in turn minimize the distortion during the welding process. Distortion can be prevented or minimized by techniques that defeat or use constructively. The effect of heating and cooling cycle are shown in this diagram figure. Okay, number A is avoid overwelding. As you can see here, excessive reinforcement with the dimension T will increase the distortion. And B is edge preparation and fit up. You must make sure this is 30 degrees. This is 1/16. Then you need to do a U version. And then you need to reduce bevel, angle, and use target root property. And lastly, you need to double V preparation. So for the point number 5 and 6, I will pass it to Dwayne. So thank you.
So my name is Duen Elman Aldrin. My matrix number is 05DTP20F2009. So I'm gonna continue with the presentation. So the fifth one is strong back. A strong back is a tool used to control distortion during butt weldings of plate. Clips are welded to the edge of the plate, while wedges are driven under the clips to force the edge into alignment while holding them during welding. This tool can help reduce distortion in this specific welding process. And as shown in this picture, that's the example. And the last one is plan the welding sequence. A well-planned welding sequence involves placing weld metal at different points of the assemble so that as the structure shrinks in one place, in counteracts the shrinkage force of welding ultimate. An example of this welding alternative on both sides of the neutral axis in making a complete joint penetration groove weld in a butt joint as shown in the diagram. Another example in a fillet weld consists of making intermittent welds according in the sequences shown in the diagram. So in this example, the shrinkage in welding number 1 is balanced by the shrinkage in weld number 2. So that's all from our group. And yeah, thank you.